Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I'm here today to give you a little update about CBX listing presentation. We've done several live trainings on this in the office, and I've had some special requests to get some information out to you again. So we're going to go through hands-on how to do a CBX listing presentation. So a few things before we get started. What is a CBX listing presentation? It probably sounds familiar. CBX has been an app that's been around through Coldwell Banker for several years now. It is not CB Exchange. CBExchange.com is the Coldwell Banker intranet site, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. CBX, the letters CBX, is the listing presentation that I'm going to go over. This is different from the PowerPoint listing presentation that Coldwell Banker provides. So you have two versions. Originally, CBX was developed just to bring big data to your listing presentation. It wasn't supposed to be the full listing presentation. They've made some updates, and now it really can be an option as a go-to listing presentation. So you have two options now, which is great. You have your PowerPoint presentation, which they have updated the statistics. Today is March 29th, 2020. So if you have not yet gone on to CB Exchange to download the Coldwell Banker new listing presentation, be sure to do that because to make sure your PowerPoint is updated. That's one option. As a second option, you have this listing presentation that I am going to go over. The difference is this CBX listing presentation really uses the power of big data. So what does that mean? We're going to go through that in a little bit when I go through this program with you. It really uses the power of technology. So it has that wow factor. It is only available to Coldwell Banker Realtors. So if you're going on a competitive listing presentation, which we should assume, honestly, that every single listing presentation we go on is competitive, rest assured, nobody else, there is no other company in town that will have this level of a program. So you know you'll stand out when you use it. The wow factor of CBX listing presentation is the technology. So you're gonna need a reliable internet source. So what does that mean? I would have a backup, you have your backup PowerPoint presentation saved on your computer, ready to go in case something goes wrong with the internet. Don't ask when you go to somebody's house. I never would ask, what's your internet? Let me use that. Everybody has an iPhone or a smartphone. You have a hotspot programmed in. That's what I use when I'm out anywhere in a rural area. Link your computer to your hotspot, and that way you have pretty reliable internet. And so the power of this is in that internet technology. So just like everything with technology, make sure you have a backup in case it doesn't go as planned. But it's such a cool presentation, and we're going to kind of go over it with you. So let me share my screen here for you. Okay. Hopefully you can all see my screen here. First, what I'm going to do is we're going to go to cbexchange.com, and that's how we're going to log in to CBX. So that's cbexchange.com, cbexchange.com, and we'll click here, our login. It should automatically log you in. If your password is something that your login will be first name dot last name at coldwellbanker.com. So it's an email address that you probably do not use. First name dot last name at coldwellbanker.com. And your password is something that you created. It's the same password you used to get into Zap, CB Exchange, all of the Coldwell Banker tools. It has a capital letter number. So it's something you created. So go ahead and log in. And this is what it'll look like once you're logged in. We'll scroll down, and again, if you wanted that listing presentation I told you about, come here and search listing presentation. And it's this one, this Coldwell Banker listing presentation, high resolution version. You can download the PowerPoint there. That's not what we're going over today. Today we're going over the CBX listing tool. So we'll scroll down. This is mine, CBX listing experience. This is what we're looking for right here. You can grab these and move them anywhere. So this is one I use the most. So I have mine up front. So look for it. It's in the shape of an iPad with a house in the middle, and it says CBX listing experience. Yours may be farther down on the screen. So find yours and go ahead and click it. And this will automatically bring you to a new tab and will automatically log you in. You can use this. It's now only online. So if you've ever had an app before, like on an iPad, I would just use the internet now to get your CBX listing presentation. So when you log in, if you've ever done a presentation before, they will all be saved right here. If you've never done one before, then your spot here will be empty. So what are we gonna do first? So the idea is, all right, I have a friend who just called and said, Adrienne, I want you to come. I want to think about listing my house, but we need to have it listed ASAP, and I have an opening in an hour, and that's it. This is your go-to. You can really grab this, make it very personalized, and go. So, all right, so I'm gonna go and quickly make my listing presentation. How am I gonna do that? Right up here, the top right, where it says create new presentation. Click the top right, that button, create new presentation, and just start filling in. So which property are we gonna use? So usually this would be a house that's not listed because you're having a call to go and do a listing presentation. For the sake of this training, I'm gonna use a property that we all know. So I'm gonna go to coldwellbanker.com and I'm just gonna search, and I'm gonna pull up one of the first Coldwell Banker listings. How about this one, 8021 Old Normandy? I know this is Libby Amon's listing because we just featured it on social media. So I know a little bit about it. So 8021 Old Normandy Lane, the zip is 70806. The price is $698,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. Let me show you a little, make sure we all are on the same page. You can see here where it is. Scroll in a little bit. This is Lobdell, Goodwood. It's in that old Goodwood area. There's a library behind there. Airline, Terra Boulevard, Terra High School. So we all kind of have an idea of almost to mid-city in that old Goodwood area where we're talking about. Okay, so let me pull this out so I can have my information so I know what to put in. All right, so presentation title. Everybody loves seeing their name, so make sure you put your client's name in here. So, Frierson family. I love seeing their name. All right, the only required information is what has asterisks by it. So that's presentation title, that little asterisk, address line 1, and zip. That's all you really have to fill in to get started. The address, the zip, and some kind of title. That's how it could be test if you're just testing it out. So let's go ahead and put the address in, 8021 Old Normandy. Lane, Baton Rouge, State LA, 70806. You don't have to put the square feet, beds and baths. It doesn't matter. It's just there for display purposes. It does not affect the data that's being pulled. The only thing that matters is the address and the zip. But square feet, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in just so we know. 3223. Beds, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. Okay, that's it. You can see here, drop image or upload here. I'm gonna leave this blank because it will then default to the default photo. And I expect every single one of you watching will hate that picture so much that I want it ingrained in your brain so you never leave this blank. Put something in here. Upload some file. Where can you get it? You can upload a stock photo that you already have on your computer. Drive by, especially if you have your iPad, you're planning on doing this from your iPad, drive by on your way in, take a quick picture of the front of the house and upload it then. Put something there because put the Coldwell Banker One logo, something. The stock photo is just not a great one, but I'm gonna leave it blank so that you see that. So that's it. This is the other part I wanna show you. Select a default presentation right here at the bottom. It automatically defaults to my personal default. So if this is your first time doing a presentation in this new program, your personal default is going to be the Coldwell Banker corporate default. So it's not gonna have any of the edits done. I have gone ahead and added for you, I've updated the slides, I've added the Coldwell Banker One information. There are several slides in here I thought were missing. I have added those for you. So I have done most of the work already for you so that you can just put in the address information and move forward. That is here in this 5025 Bluebonnet Boulevard. It just defaulted like that. I haven't yet uploaded it to the airline. So if anybody's watching here and your home office is the Prairieville office, please let me know if the default slides are not showing up here for you in airline, or if you don't have access to this 5025 Bluebonnet Boulevard. But you'll go ahead and click that, 5025 Bluebonnet Boulevard. If you are working on the Prairieville office, and by the time you watch this, I've gone ahead and uploaded the airline one because I've realized you don't have access to the Bluebonnet one, then you're good to go. But 5025 Bluebonnet Boulevard is what we're gonna click. And you can use that and then save it as your personal default. And moving forward, you would use your My Personal Default. We're gonna click that and click Save as Continue. Done. The presentation is right here for you. It is all ready to go. You can see here are all of the different slides. Anything that's blank, like, let me see if I can annotate this for you. Anything while you're looking at the slides that are just like this one, a gray box, those are personalized slides that I added. I took a lot of them from the listing presentation. They're honestly listing presentation slides that I've used personally, and I thought they were missing from this CBX listing presentation. So I went ahead and added them for you. So that's why I think it's great for you to use this default presentation that I've already done for you. So you can go and see the order. If you don't like the order of the slide, you can change the order. I've changed the order a little bit to put it when I think flows the best. So if you look at the My Personal presentation or the Coldwell Banker National default presentation, not this one that I've done, the 5025 Bluebonnet, then it'll be a different order. This is what I think flows the best. So the presentation's done. That was it. I'll walk you through a little bit about what it looks like and kind of give you an example of how to do this presentation, but it really is that easy. You can see here there are some red boxes in some of the slides. That means that those slides can be edited and you need to do something to them. So we're just gonna click on those slides. So first I'll walk you through this presentation and we will, in order of each slide, and then when we get to the ones that have the red boxes, we'll edit those and move forward. But when you're doing this next time, you can just go and just directly click on the red boxes. I'm going through all of them. If there's a slide you hate, if there's a slide you don't like, you click on the little ellipsis on that particular slide and click remove. Done, it's gone. You can get it back later, but you don't have to use it if you don't like it. There'll be a few in here that I think you probably won't use. And if you do any edits along the way, I do recommend coming up here to the top right to this ellipsis and clicking set as my default. This way, when you come back and you log back in again, you can click on my personal default and it will log you in. I just noticed down here, this is not Andrea McKee talking. This is Adrienne Frierson. But I'll just continue with this name. So you'll click that, set as my default. So enter a custom slide. If you find there's some slide that you use that is not in here that you think is missing, something personalized to you, that's great. Click here, enter custom slide, add that in, ready to go. So let's go through what the presentation looks like. Clicking on the first slide, this is it here. So this bottom part of the screen is a preview. It's very small, it's hard to see, but it's just gonna give you a preview of what the slide looks like. At the end, I'll do the big version. This is, see this picture here? This is the default photo. Does that look like any picture in the greater Baton Rouge area, or really in Louisiana? No, it does not. This is super modern. So have a default picture ready to go. The best thing is if you snap a quick picture from your phone, from your iPad, upload it here. So it's a picture of that actual listing. As we're editing, over here on the left side is how you can edit the information. So if you realize, oh shoot, I put L in, but really, I know they're very formal and proper, and I wanna have Lane written out. So I type that in there, and you can still change it there for you. Okay? The next slide is the agent info slide. You can see here, this slide does not have any customizations available. The way that you edit your agent info is you jump back over to CB Exchange when we first logged in. You click dash. You saw that there, I'll go back. cbexchange.com, it's how where we logged in. Instead of clicking CBX listing presentation, I'm clicking dash. It's the circle button with little pie charts. That brings me to my dash backend. It is an extra step. I wish it wasn't like this. If I could change it, I would, but it's the way it is. You go and you change it one time and you never have to do it again. So you log in, you click your name, here at the top right, web settings. Your name and then web settings. And right here, your description, your credentials. You can click the little edit button, add, I want to talk my expertise, headline, hobbies, whatever you want to add, make sure you do everything as a different column and add the information here, okay? That's it. And it will populate it here for you. So I only had 2, about and credentials. You can see that the credentials kind of read paragraph form. So if I was going to do it again, I would edit my credentials and have a new line, maybe like as bullet points, so that it's not all one paragraph. Let's see. Let's see how quickly that. So next time I logged in, it should hopefully be in paragraph form or bullet form. This next one is testimonials. I left this in here so it would be easy for you to add your own testimonials if you have them ready to go. You can put a picture, a background picture here, although I like this picture, it's fine. And then each testimonial you can put here and it will add all the testimonials here for you. So make sure you save it. If you don't have testimonials, then you click up and you remove the slide. Done. The next slide are your listings. And I'll talk to you. This is one slide that I don't think you'll want to use. The reason is your options are to show your office listings, and you can zoom in, see where there are a lot of listings. This may be important if your office has a lot of listings in the area, or show my personal listings, which would maybe be good if you have a lot of listings in the area. You know, I think that this slide kind of loses a lot of power. I think it slows down the presentation because if you have a lot of listings in the area, I don't know, like why haven't they sold? I think what's more important is to show past sales in an area. So I think it's a little bit of a distraction. So I would usually remove it, but I left it here so you can make that decision. So then we go into the global presence, talk about Coldwell Banker. We talk about Coldwell Banker 1. You are welcome. I've already updated this for you. I've changed the picture here because it was another like stock Coldwell Banker picture, and I just really like this one. The company statistics, I've put our company statistics in here. I've put our philanthropic partnership because we've not talked about Pat's Goods for Kids, and more about Coldwell Banker 1. I've put all that here. If there is something you think is missing, you can edit it right here. You can add something new. You can edit it. Just make sure you click up and set as my default, okay? This is another slide that I added just for you. It is the National Coldwell Banker .com online visits. And actually, this one needs to be moved over. So I'll save that for you. Talking about Coldwell Banker on the web, marketing activities, I have edited it. This is another place you'll want to come in and edit marketing activities, all of the things you're gonna do. If there's something you're not gonna do over here, change it. Like if you're not going to promote on social media, take that out. If you're not gonna provide smart guidance on smart homes, take that out. My personal website, I would change that and put your website. It's just another way for you to be able to have your website information on there. Okay, so now we're here at the first slide that needs to be edited. You see that red dot? This is the first slide that has to be edited. This is the bulk of really what CBX listing presentation is. This is the big data. So Coldwell Banker partnered with big data companies, Esri, Onboard, Experian, Facebook, the census, and combined all this information to give us big data about the area where you're listing the property. There is no other program, no other company has access to this information. Sure, they can get it individually, but nothing puts it together like this one does. It's amazing. Now, it pulls a big data about the area of the house that you're listing by zip code. So, is every neighborhood in every zip code the same? No. But guess what, guys? That's why you are the local expert. You're the realtor. That's why technology does not sell houses. So we're going to use this big data to help tell the story that we already tell. A lot of this information is information you already know. You know about who's going to buy the house. You know if it's going to be a first-time home buyer, if it's going to be a move-up, if it's going to be a retiree, a downsizing. You have a general idea, but telling you, it makes the biggest difference. You saying it, like, just trust me, versus I have this big data to back me up and my experience. So know that this data is pulled by zip code, and I'm going to go through how you tell the story about it, okay? So this first one we're on is buyer profile intelligence. You can see here, to create your home buyer profile, select data points about the About Homes and People sections, then click Preview to see the changes. So let's go over to this little panel on the left to see what they're talking about. I'm going to expand it. About 70806. Remember our zip code, 70806. You can see these data points are unchecked. You go through and check the data points that you like. I will tell you this, everything is true. It's all true. So don't waste time trying to debate whether this information is true or not, because guess what? It is true. Now, you may not like it, or it may not help tell the story about your listing. That's a different story. If it's a distraction, if it doesn't help tell the story you want to tell, don't check it. Nobody ever has to see it. Where is this information coming from? You can see here, view sources. You can click that. The full sources are here. Esri, Experian, Simmons, Tapestry. The Tapestry segmentation from Esri I really like. That's where the general overview of where the sources come from. You can click here to see specifically in every area, homes, people, where that information is coming from. So you can look at that. Okay, 70806. We are expected that the future annual compound rate for 2019 to 2024 is expected, and this comes from the US Census data, is the population and households are expected to increase. Interesting, I've never seen a decrease yet. The family size is expected, the number of families is expected to decrease. So what does that mean? More people, less families, less houses. That's interesting. Usually every single one I've seen has been a positive. So good information for somebody to know living in the area. This is really created for listings, but I could see how this could be a good use for buyers too. Median household income is expected to increase by a lot, almost 3%. So this is an area where maybe probably home values are increasing. That's good to know. Usually I see this being somewhere between 0 and 1. That's usually the percentages. So to have something in the 3% is really high. Okay, mobility score. This is how the transportation options around you are few and far between. Learn more about this. It brings us to transit screen, mobility score. This is always going to be low because we don't live in an urban area where people rely on things like public transportation, the bus system, the metro, a subway. You know, we just don't rely on that. So it's really always going to be low. The only thing kind of bringing our public transportation mobility score up is going to be Lyft and Uber. So I never select this because I think it's a distraction and it doesn't really play to our particular market. So one thing I selected is the annual compound growth rate. I click preview so you can see that it'll pop up on our screen here. Cool. All right, let's scroll down on the left side. A little bit about the homes in 70806. Okay, average homeowners insurance, $385, average mortgage payments and homeowners expenses, average property taxes, household changing owners, average value of owner-occupied housing units, average value of total housing units. I've selected all of them. Take a moment and look. Is there anything on here that you don't like that doesn't help tell your story? A lot of time, usually, now, and it's kind of a trick question because I can probably argue both sides. Sometimes some of these numbers, you know, average mortgage payment, where does it come from? The consumer expenditure surveys, property taxes, where does that come from? Also consumer expenditure surveys. So these are professional surveys that are done. US Census data is households changing owners. So I expect, since we're right now filling out our census for 2020, I expect this data to really be cool in the next year or so. Average value of homes in this area is projected to increase. That's good to know. Total housing units. So this is interesting. Like around LSU, you'll see the vacant houses will be really high. Rental occupied and owner occupied. I'm sorry, the rental occupied will be really high around LSU. It's interesting in 70806 how high the rental is. I think 70809 is a pretty low rental. Ascension Parish has low rental. So again, things that you know, but it helps tell your story. Okay. On that, you'll see I'm going to do the presentation for you at the end. Guys, this is just to provide some interesting data. You should not spend time on every single data point when you're giving your listing presentation. If you do, you've lost them. You've lost the listing. You've lost their attention and you've totally gotten sidetracked. They don't want to know every little detail into the weeds of what are the property taxes, what are the homeowners insurance, because this is an average of the area, not specific about this property. The point of this is to show that you have this data, and then explain that you probably have other data that can help them get their house sold, and that you're using real data to sell their house and not just seeing which way the wind blows, okay? So we're not gonna go through every single piece of information. I'm doing this with you now to kind of show you what all the data means, okay? I selected all because I think it's interesting. People in 70806. Oops, let me expand that section. Okay. This is my favorite part about the entire presentation. My favorite part. So, 16% of people living in 70806 are Emerald City. 13% are retired communities and 12% are city commons. Cool, huh? Wait, what does that mean? So this is what I think is so cool. These terms are not terms that Coldwell Banker or Adrienne made up. These are Esri's market tapestry segmentation. So this is a national program that they've come up with 67 segments across the entire country. They've put the country in 67 segments, labeled how these people are. So when you see, this shows you the top 3. So the top 3 of 67. So if you see something, you can see it's of the top 3 are 16%, 13%, and 12%. That does not equal 100. That means that probably this area is pretty diverse because the top one is only 16%. When you see an area that has close to 30% or more, you know that probably that's a good label or description of the entire area because it's a big percentage, but this one's not. So let's see. In 70806, 16%, we click on the information, are Emerald City. What is Emerald City? They live in lower density neighborhoods of urban areas throughout the country. Young and mobile, they are likely to rent. Well educated and well employed. Half have a college degree and a professional occupation. Incomes close to the US median come primarily from wages and self-employment. This group is highly connected, using the internet for entertainment and making environmentally friendly purchases. Long hours on the internet are balanced with time at the gym. Most embrace the foodie culture and enjoy cooking adventurous meals using local and organic foods. Music and art are major sources of enjoyment, and they travel frequently, both personally and for business. So, how can you use this in our example, which, let me pull it over, is this property on Normandy listed for almost $700,000. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I have information that 16% of the people who live in this area are this type of segment, meaning that's 16% of the people who are likely looking in this area. My job for you is to promote your home to every potential buyer. So how am I going to do that? One way is I know that some of the people looking in this area are, I'm going to key in here, highly connected using the internet. So I'm going to make sure your home is promoted all over the internet, on Zillow, on Trulia, all over social media. Every single website that your client, that the potential buyer would go, your home will be on there. So with that, I'm going to make sure I take professional photos at my expense, because I know that without truly excellent professional photos, the chances of them coming in and looking at your house are pretty small. Really, people are shopping online, so I'm going to pay for those professional photos, okay? I'm going to make sure that my description in MLS is excellent and it's really appealing to make sure that, because that's what's going to go out to all of the internet, to all of the websites, okay? Those are things, guys, you already do or you should be doing. So you're not making a new task, but you're saying why you're doing certain things. Another thing I'm going to clue in on is many embrace the foodie culture and enjoy cooking adventurous meals and organic foods. Where is this located? This home. How close is it to Mid-City? Really close. So I'm going to talk about the proximity to Mid-City and the Mid-City food area. I mean, that is just a really cool, booming area. Now, is the person who's going to buy this house like going to be a first-time home buyer? Probably not. And so this talks how this group is young and mobile and are likely to rent. Guys, that's the area. I'm going to brush over that, but it still shows that the person buying or interested in this area, these are the things that they're going to want. And so you're going to talk about that. 14% are retirement communities. These neighborhoods are evenly dispersed throughout the country, or distributed around the country. They combine single-family homes and independent living with apartments, assisted living, and continuous care nursing facilities. Over half of the housing units are in multi-unit structures, and the majority of residents have a lease. This group enjoys watching cable TV, stays up to date with newspapers and magazines. Residents take pride in fiscal responsibility and keep a close eye on their finances. Although income and net worth are well below national average, residents enjoy going to the theater, golfing, and taking vacations. While some residents enjoy cooking, many have paid their dues in the kitchen and would rather dine out. Again, is somebody who's living in assisted living going to buy this house? No. But what I'm going to do is talk about the general area. So something that I would key into now is we have now heard the top 2 are likely renters. We saw back here that in this zip code, it has more renters. Where was that? 7,500 are rental occupied, only 5,200 are owner occupied. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me tell you a little bit. When we're going to use comparative analysis to make sure your house is priced appropriately. But just knowing that the people who live, buyers who are looking in this zip code, most of them are renters. Now, do I know that buyers do only look within one zip code? No, they do not only look within one zip code. So your competition is going to be probably outside of the zip code. They could afford a house, your house. They can afford a house, another zip code that has fewer renters. But just know that the general area of people looking in this area are probably going to be renters. So that's going to go into how am I going to promote this listing? It's got to be priced appropriately. Then you go into the things that you would normally do anyway, okay? Some things I would key in for this retirement communities is they take pride in fiscal responsibility. So they're going to you can use this for any buyer, but find something in here where they are fiscally responsible, because Mr. and Mrs. Seller, everybody's going to want a deal. So we're going to make sure your house is priced appropriately while getting you the most money for your sale. And then city commons. They're the youngest and largest markets, primarily comprised of single parent and single person households living within large metro cities. While more than a third have a college degree or spent some time in college, nearly a third have not finished high school and have found a profound effect on their economic circumstance. However, that does not dampen their aspiration to strive for the best for themselves and their children. Okay, that one's kind of doesn't give us much information. These are really cool though. You can key in information about, usually there are specific key terms you can use in your MLS description that goes all over the internet and giving you a reason why. So it gives you an area of who are the people who live here in this area, thus what is the information, the personality about the person who's likely to buy, okay? 15,000 social media users, so I'm gonna make sure it's all over social media. Average home improvement spending, average disposable income, financial profile. 27% are facing challenges. All the realities of the current economic situation are their consumer confidence and propensity to purchase everything from big ticket items, household essentials is low. The financial situation of facing challenges is worse than it was 12 months ago. And they're neither helpful about their financial future nor about the American economy. Spending less and not optimistic. So what does that mean? People are buying. Buyers are out there. It is my job to make sure that your home is promoted excellently. Again, professional photos, an amazing description. That is where, make sure it gets in front of every buyer. But we know that people are going to search in an area of a price point that they can afford. and they're going to want, everybody wants to feel like they have a good deal. So I'm going to make sure we get the high, I'm going to go over with you some things to make sure we can increase the value of your home, make sure it's priced appropriately. Okay. Average education rates, high school graduate, that's usually what it says. So if you ever see one, which is, I mean, I see it sometimes where it says bachelor's degree is the highest, the average education, that means many people there are very educated because it's the average of the zip code. A median age of residence, 36. If you're doing probably, you know, I would probably go 10 above, 10 below. Somebody buying what was it? $700,000 house. I would say this is about 36, goes about 10 above, 46. It's not too off. Median commute time, when you look out into Ascension Parish, Livingston, that commute time increases. Why? Because they're probably working in Baton Rouge and commuting in. You know that. Average family size. We're expecting an increase in residents' income in this area. Average household income, average homes with children. So if there's anything you don't like, don't select it. Sometimes I see people like, well, Adrienne, it says the average household income is $66,000. I don't want to do this. I'm listed their home for $800,000. How could I say their average household income is $66,000? It's true. It's the average. It's the average in this area. People who live here in this area on average make $66,000 on average, okay? Which goes, then you can have a conversation about the buyer pool is smaller than they probably expected, which then we can have like a little conversation about expected length of the listing and expected days on market. Then that can maybe turn into a conversation of length of listing agreement. If it's especially a higher priced home, you may want to do longer than a 6-month listing agreement. And this is the way to have that conversation, okay? Click the preview and it all pops up right here. We have about, we have the homes, we have people. Easy to go through and talk through. The next slide that has the edits required is this one, the buyer profile map. Don't be offended, guys. Right here it says county. What they meant is parish. So go ahead and look at that. The top parishes migrating to East Baton Rouge or Orleans, Livingston, and Ascension. We know that people also move within East Baton Rouge Parish. Good to know. Maybe you'll do some targeted Facebook ads in that area. Doesn't hurt. It'll cost you $1 a day and it makes the seller happy. It gives them some reason that you're using the big data. I usually unselect these because I think it makes the map look a little bit messy, but it's good to know. Map options. You can show them neighborhood segmentation. You can show them how many homes are occupied by owners, how many homes are occupied by renters, households that have changed hands. We can do a personality match to match the specific areas, the specific zip codes that most highly match our zip code. And the idea is that that will show you the people who live in this zip code are most like the people who live in my zip code. So probably they're the ones who are most likely going to be moving over. It's really cool to really track where people are moving. Okay. I'll do a preview so we can see this map. Again, it's going to be kind of small here. At the end, I'll show it to you bigger. This is supposed to be used as a listing presentation. I've seen people use it. They can pull up this map and sellers or buyers can really scroll in, scroll out, use that. It's very tactile. It's cool if you're doing a buyer presentation or listing presentation in the office, or if you have clients in the office and you have to step out, hand this over to them. Let them start playing around with the different areas and they can see for themselves. Put it in a case that totally encloses your iPad on a stand. They're like, I don't know, $20 on Amazon. They're not very expensive. Get one of those and have it set up at your open house. When we have open houses again and people can scroll in, scroll out, really see that information on the map. It's kind of a cool factor. All right, so I'm scrolling through the rest of my presentations. The next slide that requires edits is this one, the comparable properties. This is very cool. Okay. Does this program provide you comps for the house? No. When you go on a listing presentation, how do you prepare for pricing? MLS. You're going to do the same thing this time. Go into a comp analysis. Now, oftentimes, this is the first time you've seen the house, so you can't do a true price analysis without having seen the inside of the house, but you can get a general ballpark. And if it's not part of your practice, or at least to show some comps, if it's not part of your practice to have a price during your first listing presentation, you cannot just click remove and not have pricing in here. But you'll probably want to, this is a good way to give them some information about what are the comps in the area, okay? So what you're going to do first is pull up your MLS and do an actual comparative market analysis like you would anyway, okay? So I've done this and this, and so I'm going to pull up another slide, do my comparative market analysis in that slide, and that, I'm sorry, that screen. And then I have my list of 3 to 5 really good comps, solds. I'm also going to pull up what our competition is, what are some actives, and then I'm also going to pull up what did not sell, expireds, okay? And I'm going to have that list, I'm going to look at it. You can ask this CBX system to pull some comps for you. They're not going to actually be comps. It just pulls random information from MLS, okay? So I'm gonna click this edit search filters. I'm gonna search between, for the sake of this presentation, guys, I'm gonna do a big price point, but when you're doing this, you would have already done MLS. You would not be doing it in here. You're only using this for searching to find the data you already know that you want to find. I'm going to do a big search so that I can pull 500,000 to, let's say, 900. Okay. And I'm going to say I'm going to 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. Let's see. Okay. I don't want for rent. So it says there are 4 homes. These are not necessarily all comps. They're not even necessarily in the same area, but if there are, it makes it a lot easier if you have your list and you know, all right, I want to find this information. It makes it a lot easier to check the box than having to add in your information. Okay, so I found my 4 for sale. So this would be my competition. And you can have up to 5 of each listing type. Now I want to find, let me see if I can do edit search folders and do, I'm gonna make it bigger, the search parameters bigger. I'm gonna, just so I can easily select something to show y'all. Recently sold, okay. So we've gotten for sale, recently sold. So these are gonna be my comps. My for sale and my competition, recently sold are my comps. So I'm just gonna select 4 so you can see them. And then, and you can come over here and see on the map physically where they are. Then I wanna make a really big point and I wanna add, or like, let's say on here, oh my gosh, one of my comps from my comparative market analysis I did on MLS isn't here. It's not here. What can I do? Add custom comparable, okay? You put in the address, you can upload a picture, put in the address and say, was it a for sale, meaning it's currently on the market, recently sold, meaning it's a comp, or it did not sell, meaning it was withdrawn or expired. We know that homes are withdrawn or expired for several reasons, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't, something else could have happened to have them not sell. But if there's something that's maybe priced too high or had poor updates and it didn't sell, I would add it in here to help tell your story so that to tell your story to your listing your future Mr. and Mrs. Seller about why this particular home didn't sell and how to prevent that in their current home, just to make a point. So I'm just going to add, just so it maps right, I'm going to add an address that I know, and I'm going to say that it was, let's say, $1 million. Okay, and it did not sell because it was priced too high. Save and continue. I'm going to add one more. Again, I'm just adding random addresses that I know because I want them to show up on the map. That's the only reason why when you do this, you'll have your comparative market analysis, you'll have MLS pulled up and are putting the actual data in from MLS. And I'm going to say this did not sell because it was also priced too high. Okay, save and continue. Hello. There we go, save and continue. Okay. Then it pulls up our competitive price lines and makes, so if we do this right, by using the data that we put in here in the comparable properties, it pulls up a competitive price line to show what area were the recently solds, what area the currently for sales are competition, and what area for the did not sells. So if we do this right, the visual that will be created is the recently solds will probably be in this area. The currently for sales, that's the competition. They can be all over the board. And then the did not sells are way up here at the top, showing that if you want to sell your home and have it, because these are comparables, you want to sell your home and have it priced right, then you want to have it right here in this middle part, probably. So really good visual. Okay. This last slide that needs to be edited is the home assessment. Now, this is an example of something that I probably don't use that much, but I left it in here so that if you want it, it's here. If not, you click remove slide. This is supposed to be that kitchen table conversation where you have your iPad or your computer, you've already created your presentation, you walk into their house and you're walking through with them to see everything before you sit down to your presentation. And you can give them a really good list, a visual list of what needs to happen in order to get their house on the market. So add new assessment, I can say example paint. You can upload a picture, take a picture of what you're talking about, or just take a picture from Google of neutral paint and put it up and say, repaint living room, because the living room is purple and gold stripes, and recommendation ballet white color. It's really trendy and classic. And I'm gonna say that's gonna be a 5 out of 5 stars. It has to happen. You can see it pops up over here now. We can add a new assessment. And this one is assessment type, cleanliness, depersonalize, remove all personal photos from countertops and walls in order to allow the potential buyer to see their family living here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna say that one is a 4 out of 5 stars, although it's really behind. But again, and it'll rank them over here for you. You can do this afterwards. You can come back in and have this and then email it to them just so they can have a list and a visual. It's cool. You may not use it every time. It's a cool feature. The price display. This is our last slide. Has our information up again, the picture we hate that we will change. And so you can, it does have, or you can click here and have the RPR price to see what RPR suggests. This is for the actual property. This is the only thing that's for the actual property and not from zip code. And you can click use this price range. Sometimes there's the Coldwell Banker price too, or you can add in your own price. Guys, these RPR pricing and the Coldwell Banker pricing have never been inside this home, ever. They've never been inside any of the properties. This is why we rely on you, the professional realtors, to do the pricing. You use your comparative market analysis. You've been inside these properties. You've been inside the comparables. You know what your recommendation for the pricing will be. Do not only rely. So if you don't like the pricing they recommend, ignore it. It's a computer program. It is not you, the professional realtor. Okay, down here, optional price adjustments. I have always said, never use this. It's a distraction. It doesn't make sense. And I just would skim over it. I did one class one time, and somebody in the class said, well, I could definitely use this. So now I tell you about that, and you can choose if you want to use it or not. The price adjustment is showing how you got to the price other than comps. So, okay, starting off, I think the home is $100,000, but you did a kitchen update, which no other house has a kitchen update. So I'm going to say that's going to add $10,000 of kitchen up value. However, it's right on the highway. So I'm going to say that that's going to decrease your home value by $15,000. Okay. So you see how that is a little bit of a distraction. Number one is we're not appraisers. That's why homes don't sell for appraised value. Home sells for market value. We're not appraisers. Our job is not to nitpick and increase value by a certain amount for kitchen or for a highway view. I also think they'll say, hey, I updated my kitchen. I spent $100,000 on that kitchen update. Why are you only increasing it by 10? You see how it's a little bit of a distraction? So that's why I usually don't use it. Now, somebody said, well, I'm sorry if they've done $100,000 kitchen update and every other home in the neighborhood has sold for $110,000. Your home is not going to automatically sell for $210,000. So it's, yes, that's wonderful. It definitely adds value and it will probably help sell your home, but not for the amount that you put into it. So maybe if you put that on here, you can have that conversation, bring it up. So again, if you don't put anything, then it'll just not be there. You don't have to worry about it, okay? We've done the whole presentation. Let's look and see what it looks like. So I'm gonna click up here. I'm gonna say set as my default because I like the way that I did all the slides. And so next time I want it to pull up the same way. I'm gonna click launch and sync. All right, we've pulled up the presentation. Up here at the top, you can skip ahead to other slides or go back to a slide if you need to. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited. I love this listing and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what I can do to get it listed for you and sell it for the best price, least hassle for you. So first you can see that I've changed this ugly photo here to be a picture of your house, which you will do, guys. And then scroll next. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's a little bit about me. I am a full-time professional realtor, and I think that's something to know. I'm excited, and I hope you'll be able to sell your house. Next, don't go into your whole resume. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am part of Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker is part of an international company. So everything that I do, I'm able to leverage the tools that National Coldwell Banker does, that my personal company does, and then that I do for you. One thing that I think it is important to know is that we are part of a relocation network. So if you know anyone buying or selling anywhere in the world, just so you know, I can help you with that. Let's talk a little bit about my personal company. We are one of the top companies in the area. We do have 2 office locations here. Generally, we're in the top 5% of Coldwell Banker companies in the entire continent. One thing I do want to tell you also is we are a partner with Pat's Coats for Kids, our philanthropic partnership. So thank you for partnering with me. If you choose to move forward and work with me, a portion of every closing I give back, and that stays here in the community to help keep give a child a brand new warm coat every year. Again, you can just glaze over, talk a little bit about the company, Coldwell Banker One. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this probably will not be a super surprise for you, but this is data that comes from the recent National Association of Realtors Home Buyer Survey. They found that 93% of people start their home search online. Most people do use a realtor, but most of the searches are online. So it's really important for you to know that. It's important for me to know that, to make sure that we're marketing your house and getting it in front of every single person who will likely buy it. How am I going to do that? One good thing is, and this is I'm going to go back. One thing right here as an aside for you to do is say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, where did you start your home search? And they're going to say, Zillow, Trulia, whatever. Say, great. That is wonderful. Those are the big websites. They are, however, advertising websites. They're not real estate websites. So oftentimes they don't have accurate information. I know that most people start their home search there, so I'm going to make sure your listing is promoted on Trulia, Zillow, all the big ones. However, when you're looking for a property, I want you to use my personal website, and you give them your URL. You all have a free website that has all MLS listings on it. So my website pulls directly from MLS, so it has accurate information, real time, so that you can make sure you're getting the best information. Of the real estate brands, ColdwellBanker.com is the #1 ranked real estate brand online. And these are local current 2019 statistics. So the aggregates, Trulia, Zillow, Homes.com, those are website companies. Advertising companies. Those are not real estate companies. They don't oftentimes have accurate information. However, their number of hits are #1. They're so far #1, they're not on this chart. But of the real estate brands, Coldwell Banker is #1. So we're going to make sure your listings is all over the place. I'm going to have it here on Trulia, on Zillow, on Homes.com, on every single website that somebody could go and look to see for a property. Yours is going to be on there. With that, I'm going to make sure I'm going to pay for professional photos. So your home, before we do that, we're going to need to make sure your home is staged beautifully. We're going to want everything off the countertops, all professional photos, all personal photos taken down, but I'm going to have professional photos. I'm going to hold open houses. One thing that we talk about is when to do that open house. That's something that you're interested in. My company, we have a property tour. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to have it on that property tour to make sure that my colleagues really get inside the home and help promote it. When I do that, it does go on my company's social media. And we're going to have it all over the internet. So you can go through and edit any of these marketing activities if you want. So now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to tell you a little bit. One thing that I really like to do is I am a full-time realtor, and I have the support of my 100 Coldwell Banker One colleagues. I also use big data when I'm pulling the marketing together to promote your home. And so I'm just going to go through, when I was preparing for this listing presentation, some of the data points that I pulled that I just thought were interesting. I am going to leave this with you as a go behind, but so I'm just going to touch on a few things. One thing it's good to know, we're expecting the population in this area to grow. We're also expecting the income to grow, which is just file that in the good to know category. Some other information about average homeowner's expense, average household units. I do want to point out one thing that I think is interesting is in your area, more people are renters than who are owners. So that's going to go play into a little bit about how I'm going to do some of my marketing, knowing that to make sure that your home in this area is in front of the best people. some of the people, so I know that the people living in this area, and we found, according to my research, people generally move to areas, people who that are similar to their personalities. So using Esri's market tapestry, I know that 16% are Emerald City, and I'm just going to read a few of these to you because I think that it's really interesting. The top segment of people living in this area are well educated, well employed, they have a college degree. Some things that I'm going to really key in on: this group is highly connected, using the internet for entertaining and making environmentally friendly purchases. Long hours of the internet are balanced with time in the gym. So when I'm going to do your MLS subscription, I'm going to make sure that it is all over every single website. I think that is really important. I'm also going to key in Esri's Market Tapestry, which is, again, a national data source, and it's not something that I made up. Says that the most people who live here, 16% of the people who live here, embrace that foodie culture. So I'm going to highlight that proximity to mid-city. Maybe when I'm doing some open houses, talk about that, and really promote it specifically to that area to make sure that those 16% people can appeal to this particular home. I do also know that 13% are retirement communities. So what that means to me is somebody buying this house is probably not going to be a first-time home buyer. Doesn't mean they're retiring, but they're probably not going to be a first-time home buyer, which probably should not surprise you. Because of that, how am I going to reach that segment of people? Well, I'm going to make sure that we are targeting them through the internet. I'm going to do some e-newsletters to my sphere of influence. I'm also going to talk in there about making sure that when we have it priced, that we have it priced appropriately. So that's a little bit of overview. I have some information about average household income in the area, but I'm going to use all of this data to make sure that I am promoting your house appropriately. You see that? You see how you just kind of go through the data points? Don't spend a lot of time on every single one. We've got to move on to listing presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this again is just a cool factor, and I can leave behind, I'll send you a link so you can kind of play with this a little bit more, but I just want to show you a little bit. Average household income in this area, you can see we have a pretty good average income. I can zoom in a little bit and see. Homes occupied by owners, this is one thing I wanted to show you. We have about pretty average homes occupied by owners. Households changing hands. This is kind of cool. Okay, so change in population. You can just kind of go through every data point with them. Moving on. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what are some things I'm gonna do for you? As an aside, this is a slide I added for you guys, okay? So it's already in here. I just like it, and I thought y'all may like it as well. If you don't, unselect it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, these are the stages that I'm gonna go through. As another side, this is another slide to send ahead of time with your pre-listing. So step one, we're talking about pricing. Then I'm gonna help you talk a little bit about preparing the house for sale. We're gonna talk about staging it, getting a home protection plan if that's something you're interested in. Listing documents are all gonna be signed. This is when I'm gonna have the photographer come through. Marketing, we're gonna go through all these specific marketing activities that I'm gonna do. When we get an offer, I'm going to review that with you, review all of our options timeline, help coordinate the negotiations and the inspections and dealing with the other realtor, and then make sure that we have a smooth closing and that you're protected and stay out of trouble along the way. So some of the things we can talk about: the staging your home for sale, and you can kind of go. Okay, sorry guys, my computer died. This slide is the staging your home for sale. This is a really good slide to send ahead of time as a pre-listing presentation via email, because a few things. Number one, you can add information on here like I have in mind: remove floral drapes, take off all personalized photos, remove everything from countertops. If you send it ahead of time, then it's a little bit like it's not as personal. And it's something that you sent to everybody. And hopefully when you walk in, they'll have done a few of these things. So I'm going to go to Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Here are some factors that position your home for sale. Again, this is another thing that I would send in a pre-listing presentation. I really like this slide. Factors that do impact your home or market value and market condition. If you sent it ahead of time and they've looked about factors that don't impact your home, original price, needed proceeds, and opinions from your friends or family. So that way you don't have to read that in person. But I would say we're gonna look at some comparables and talk about what's market value for your home, okay? So let's talk a little bit about pricing right. The market demands a certain price point. And if we are even 5% over market value, then we all of a sudden have eliminated half of the buyers who are going to see your home, which means your home's going to be listed on the market for longer. I'd probably have to take some more price reductions. So it's really important that we price it right in order to have it sold. It really rarely works pricing it higher. Then you also lose your negotiating power because the buyer sees how long the home's been on the market. Fewer showings also mean fewer opportunities for somebody to write an offer. Generally, we find that your first 14 days, your first 2 weeks, when you'll have the highest number of market activity. Also, after that, we can force another spike after some change, meaning a price decrease, something like that. But we don't really want to get there. So this is why your first 14 days are when people are more likely to see the home, because most people have home searches saved on their websites. So they get a new listing that pops up. That's when they're interested in going and looking on it and probably making an offer. So that just helps you kind of give that information about pricing appropriately and timing. Now this is the stop. We give a lot of information. We stop, we look, we assess. How are they feeling? How are they looking? If you want, you can click these buttons and pull up the data points again. But we're about to go into pricing. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I have for you, I did some research about general pricing and comparative market. Using my comparative market analysis, this is what I've come up with as far as what are recently sold homes. You can click here, and then over here you can only see the recently sold homes. So you can click on it, you can show them where it is, you can see physically where their neighbor's house is, they can see pictures, they can see all the information, you can drag. So these are comps. These are homes that are similar in yours that did sell, which means that this in the past 180 days, which shows me this is the area that the market is saying will be the best value for your home. For sale, this is the competition. These homes have not sold, meaning nobody has bought these homes yet, meaning the price is not agreeable to the market yet. But they are your competition. So we don't want to be the highest price for no reason on the market, but we want to be kind of in line with that competition. So again, you can click and show them what the competition is. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to tell you a little about the homes that did not sell, meaning they were overpriced. And so I have this printed out, a comparative market. So this is essentially your comparative market analysis. It's just instead of all that, the charts that only realtors really know how to use doesn't look that great, this provides it to you in a prettier form. This is that same data I just showed you, showing, okay, so these are the competition, these are where homes sell, these are the currently for sale, meaning our competition, and then the did not sell. So we're gonna wanna make sure that your home is priced in this area so that it does sell. If you had done any of the home assessments, this is where it would pull up. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in order to get your home ready, these are some of the lists of things I think you need to have done. Again, or not, you just skip over that part. And then we end with the pricing. So, cool. I hope you can use this. You can come back, exit, You can, over here, export. Where is the export? I'm gonna click back at home. This is it, export. So when you log out and you'll log back in, your presentation will be saved right here. You can just click launch and it will bring you into that presentation mode. Or you can click export and it will download the whole presentation as a PDF. You can select your slides that you want, export selected. It will download them and have them for you right here. And you can click on it once it's downloaded. You can save it, you can email it, you can print it out, leave it. I think this is an amazing leave behind because it's formatted with your information. It's really good data. You can say, if you know, right now when we're looking for touch points, this is really good information to mail your clients who you think are about to sell, or buyers, home buyers, tell them what's going on in their zip code. It took 2 seconds. You just put in their data and select the PowerPoints you want. You can download it and send it to them. Just thinking of you, wanted to do an update on your home to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the area. It's really cool data. So I hope y'all can use this. I hope you like it. Again, it's another option to your listing presentation. The cool factor is in the technology. Call me with any questions if you see a data point you don't really understand, or you just want to practice giving this presentation, how to give the CBX listing presentation to a potential seller. I've done it all the time. It's my go-to listing presentation. I'd be happy to help you walk through how to do that presentation. 225-247-7430 is my cell phone. Email me at afrierson@coldwellbanker1.com. We can set up a Zoom meeting like this, and I'll be happy to walk you through any of it. But this is how it downloads as a PDF. So again, it loses a little bit of the cool factor. You don't see the sun rising and setting, but you do have the data. And if you have a data point that you want to add, or a slide that you want to add, then you would insert custom slide right here and choose full screen, to call whatever you want. I usually do full screen. And usually the data you have comes from another listing presentation, from another PowerPoint. So what I do is I click that full screen, it's here. And I say I want to insert, you can do a URL, you can do a video. So if you have a video you want to show them, put it in. I usually do image, and I take a screenshot of the PowerPoint that I've already created and put it up here. But you can do whatever you want. You can add text. You can change how you want it. You can change the size. I mean, you've got some information there. So thanks for tuning in. Good luck. And I hope you can use this time to help sharpen your CBX listing presentation skills. Bye, y'all.